Hello everyone, I am Ben Wilshinsky here, president of the USTA Association. I am super excited to have this match for you today. We are going to be seeing Fwwwwibib versus archvenison in the losers bracket final game. This game is actually a prize match that both of these players will be awarded prizes. The winner, they get to go on to the grand final to face off against No Hat Coder for the chance at the beautiful Wormwood box set for first prize. But even the loser of the match we're seeing today will be getting one of those really great looking hand-tooled leather sets from Andrew Cookson. So thank you very much to our sponsors, Wormwood Gaming and Andrew Cookson, for providing those prizes. So the players are ready, but we're going to real quick just get a glance at the bracket in case you are not up to speed. So you can see here we are in the bottom, the losers bracket final down there, Fwwwwibib versus archvenison. And then that match, after that match is completed, we know we will be having the grand final match this coming weekend on Sunday. We are working on the exact time to make sure all the players can make it, as there is quite a difference in time zones between some of these players. But we will announce that as soon as we have everything settled. For now, let's go ahead and move over to the game, and we will give these players the go-ahead to get started. Okay. Hopefully everybody was able to get onto the stream okay. I had a little bit of a hiccup with the posting on social media about what time the match was at, but it looks like we do have viewers in the chat here. All right, so we see we have adjacent corners, and as per usual, I'm expecting this split up the middle, so we should be seeing Fwwwwibib go here, Arch go there, and then we'll see if they want to continue vertically. Oh, it's mixing things up here. Fwwwwibib's mixing things up. He goes on E3 instead of taking that center split. So Arch is not going to know exactly, perhaps, what next sequence of moves to play, but he does have the opportunity to... All right, he plays a capstone right away. There we go, D4. That's the square he was kind of left the opportunity to grab, and bringing that capstone in there is a pretty strong play. And Fwwwwibib moves on with E4, so at first kind of going horizontally and then changing up vertically, but giving Arch the chance. He's got a nice diagonal set of pieces here. Right across the center, in fact. And Fwwwwibib's actually building diagonally himself. So these are very separated compared to the openings we usually see. Most of the time, we're going to see players try to keep their first few pieces all together in some manner. More like this row that Fwwwwibib's working on. But Arch has also got a good chance here. Actually, quite a good chance at making at least a superficial tack threat. And the first capture already, seeing Fwwwwibib capture downward, so D3 downward here. It looks like he didn't like the look of that chance at a vertical threat that Arch may have been building. And Arch replies just by placing on B2. So Arch has got this entire diagonal across the board. It's only mostly flat stones. The capstone's in there, but it does at least require captures from Fwwwwibib in order to take control of that. So Arch might be able to get a few extra flats out onto the board. Oh, so Arch brings a wall into play already. D3. So this is very much archvenison taking a lot of control of these central squares now. Between the capstone and the wall, he has those center four pretty locked down. So Fwwwwibib's going to be working, as you can see here, with kind of a perimeter structure. Fwwwwibib's spending a bit more time so far than Arch has. Only in the realm of about 30 to 45 seconds difference, though. So Fwwwwibib's last move was b4. So he's keeping this kind of perimeter around these center 4 squares. If he can get a lot of pieces out, that might work okay. And there Arch plays on c4, kind of completing his control of that center. I don't see any very good threats from either player at the moment. So this looks like it is going to take a little bit to develop. And a3 from Fwwwwibib. So he's getting that connection to this left side of the board. But he doesn't actually have connection to other areas yet. He might think about something like a2 that he could then capture over or capture down. Okay, or b1. Maybe thinking he can capture upward to then make a threat. It's easily shut down, though. Okay, an a2 from Arch. Bringing more pieces of his own into that arena. This b2 square... Oh, and there's a threat. Okay, so Fwwwwibib played on e1 right away, so now he's got a connection through here. All he needs is this capture. So now Arch does need to capture something to prevent that. All right, and he uses his wall, which is very sensible, especially given the fact he has a captive underneath that stack. Ah, clever. So Fwwwwibib uses that opportunity of that wall vacating the center, d3, to place his own capstone there. Arch takes that wall and the stack of pieces below it, runs away. And now he does kind of have a hidden connection underneath there, going up through here. So he does kind of have a chance, also up through the capstone, does have a chance if he gains control of these to make a slightly sneaky threat. All right, f4 from Fwwwwibib. So that makes a connection to the right side, but he already has a connection down here. He has a lot of connections beginning to sort of come together, but they're not getting control of this square. All right, so he's going to make a move for that now. c3 was the one that I thought was going to give him trouble. So he's got control of that, but he had to vacate d3 in order to do so. I would expect a wall seems pretty likely. No, just a flat. Okay. Arch feeling confident in his ability to hold on to the center of this board. And that's a good kind of a fork there that Fwwwwibib created. By moving his capstone, he left this square empty and forcing a response from Arch on that square. At the same time, his capstone was threatening the stack, and this stack was probably his, other than winning, his primary target. So now Fwwwwibib is forced to bring the wall in here. I would not be surprised to see... Oh, and b5 instead. Looks like he's trying to make another vertical threat. I was thinking that this stack might be hopping up here, leaving behind a single white piece, because that would be a threat. And it would pin this wall here. All right, so Arch is responding to this vertical threat on b6. Kind of a soft block. Looks like, as far as stones played, just a single stone lead for archvenison. All right, Fwib trying to get clever in the corner. A6 is going to force something to happen here. B6 down, it's possible. Might ignore it and just use a... Oh, okay, his capstone. Bringing in it, creating a hard cap. That might serve him very well later. This is, though, the perfect opportunity for Fwib to bring this capstone up. That might be... It's not quite a Tenue or an unblockable threat. But it is very, very close. Yes, that move exactly, leaving the white stone here so that a connection through here is possible. But he's also threatening to capture with the capstone over to here, making the connection in this direction. He can somewhat... so Arch here to defend... This is the weak stone right now. Because it's the only connection to this side of the board. He can also attack like over here and over here. But there are, plenty of other squares where Fwib can kind of recreate that connection. So it's a messy sequence of captures which probably will end up benefiting Fwib in the number of stones played. And even on this side, with this capture of A2 up from Arch, there are still additional squares that Fwib can reconnect with. Oh, he opts instead for B2 upward. That seems like a mistake, because now Fwib can respond with B4 down, reconnecting, and that gives him this stack with two white pieces. And that will allow him to just completely nullify the effect of this A2 upward capture. And do it in a manner which is out of range of archvenison's capstone, which is the big problem I see with that move. I don't know if there's something else he's seeing there. I mean, once that move of B4 down is made, this side of the connection is secure at the moment, and everything starts coming down to the capture sequences over on these two edges. That actually looks like game, I think. There's just not time anymore now. Fwib really, I think, takes that down, B4 downward capture, and... Or not. Okay. He goes with A5. I don't understand that. No, I'm pretty sure that would have been a Tenue. B4 down. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong on that one. But from every capture sequence I see, the fact that there are these two connections to the edge of the board means that there's just would have been no single way to stop that. I'm not sure if the players realize that, though. D3. Oh, Lieutenant Hammer in chat mentions D3 to the right. I'm not sure if that's completely viable. It results in another white flat on d3 afterward, I think. It might be enough, though. It might be enough to just give enough time. Good call. Good call. And perhaps that's the move that Fwwwwibib saw, that he wanted to make that threat even more difficult before he was going to follow through on it. It's possible I was a little bit too excited about the prospect of denying Arch the ability to use this hard cap effectively. He still opts not to use it, though. Plays flat on b2. So time-wise, both players now both down about 9 minutes. 9:30 for archvenison. All right. Big stack move here, or at least creating the big stacks. 5 stones from c3 over to the left here. Capstone coming up on top of that tower. And this does make quite the threat. But yeah, that's a double threat is what that is. So he's got a connection through here. He can capture down to connect to the bottom. Also, he's got enough stones in this stack to complete this horizontal connection. So that worked out very neatly for him. So I would say that that's Tinue. That's well done from Fwwwwibib there. And maybe that's the, maybe I got too caught up in the strength of the this previous situation, and Fwwwwibib saw that if he just delayed a little bit, he has this one devastating move. All he needed was this a5 tile, and then he had this move to just completely own the board. That tall stack has lots of potential. Just waiting now for Arch to decide what to do. For those of you wondering exactly about the Tinue and why this is unblockable, it's because he's making a threat with 2 separate roads. And when there's a threat with 2 separate roads, the only way to block both of them is to capture or block the square where the roads cross. But in this case, the roads cross where the capstone is. Since you cannot capture the capstone or block the square the capstone is on, that means that it's completely unblockable. All right, so like I said, we were just waiting for the players to finish up. It looks like Arch is probably still examining the board state, maybe making sure he didn't miss anything. But with the 2 directions, that's very effective. Well, we will let those players contemplate that. Hopefully we'll be going into the next game fairly quickly. So until that time, we will definitely come back as soon as that last move is made. the final match of whoever wins this match versus No Hat Coder will be taking place this Sunday. I'm not sure what the time on that will be, but I hope everyone's going to be able to come and watch. It'll be very exciting. And one thing I wanted to point out about that upcoming match is, let me just, while we're waiting, I'm going to hop over to the bracket real quick here. Oh, there we go. We had a move. Let me jump back to the game here. Should be seeing D3 to the right, which does not stop the vertical threat, as we already pointed out. So, all right, let's go back over to the bracket. What I wanted to point out on the bracket here, there we go, was that was officially, Fwwwwibib did finish up his vertical road. I want to point out on the bracket here that, so the grand final game will be No Hat Coder versus one of these two players we're watching now. And if you can see, No Hat Coder was the top seed coming into this finals double elimination bracket. And he has, from the first game, he has gone undefeated. He is also actually undefeated for the season. He did have a draw versus Sultan Pepper in one of the earlier season qualifiers. But other than that, No Hat Coder has gone undefeated. And he has been on quite a long win streak. I don't know exactly the number, but he is looking extremely dominant. So whoever wins this match is still going to have their work cut out for them. All right, so we can go back to the game here and see that, yes, white wins, so that is a win for Fwwwwibib. Let's give the players just about a 2-3 minute intermission, and then we will be right back for second game. All right, welcome back, everyone. Looks like players are ready for game 2 here. Let me go ahead and give them the go-ahead. All right, so game 1 we did see was won by Fwwwwibib. I still hope I'm pronouncing that name correctly. It seems like just a lot of letters smushed together. But he has been a long-time player in the online TAC community, and is clearly a quite a strong player. All right, I had a brief disconnect from him there, but all right, we're seeing adjacent corners to start out with again. There, and we've started out with the center split, and we get to see that split evenly this time. Arch continues with the D2, doing that vertical build. We could see C2, yep, from Fwwwwibib there, and now I expect capstone on E3. Perfect. This is definitely becoming the most typical opening we see in TAC. And then Arch, instead of making the threat, decides for the wraparound on C5. Then he completes the threat on C6. Capstone jumps over. Now we see very likely Arch to bring his capstone into play. B3 and 4 could be attractive. Opts for a single flat instead, E3. Gonna try to build around the capstone, it would appear. Might be a good move because it allows him to bring that F1 flat into play. A lot of times players don't get the opportunity to bring their initial stones into play when they're always placed in the corners. Fwwwwibib brings a flat on E4. Arch right away. F4. So that gives him a edge connection over here, and he's not that far off from making it all the way over to A6. So he could try to do something in that direction as well. Fwwwwibib starting to work on his own road, it looks like. B4. Arch B6, working on that horizontal connection. A question in the chat from Lieutenant Hammer that he says, I haven't seen many opposite corner games in 6x6. Is there a reason for that? Most people feel that if you place... so the dark stone gets placed first by the player playing white. The white stone gets placed second by the player playing black. If the player playing black places the white stone in the opposite corner from their own, it does seem to give a little bit more freedom to build off of that initial stone for white. All right, we are missing some moves in the game here. Let's go. So we got B6. We got E5 from Fwwwwibib. We got A6 from Arch. Making that made a threat across the board. All you do is capture. So then we had 2 D3 up from here. So the capstone comes into block. Arch responded with the capstone. Boy, they are playing really quick here. A lot of quick decisions. Players seem to know exactly what they're going for. Then we got F5 from Fwwwwibib. We got the capstone from B3 up from Arch. And Fwwwwibib now all the way down on B2, making attack threat. Arch using his capstone coming over to interrupt that, but Fwwwwibib can renew with D3, which is exactly what he does. So renewed the same threat. Seems like Arch, there we go. E3 or D2 stones were looking pretty good for helping out on this, and the E3 over was what he opted for. E3 to the left, sorry. Over is not very descriptive. And then just playing a regular flat on E3 from Fwwwwibib. So another thing here, Fwwwwibib is in decent amount of control. He has kind of interspersed himself with Arch's threat. Gotten a good amount of stones built in there. He does also have this interesting diagonal kind of structure going on that allows him to try to connect to the top and bottom, as well as the left and right sides. Arch plays on e2. So now archvenison's also kind of getting the similar idea going because he's got a connection all the way over here on a6 to the left edge. All right, Fwwwwibib makes his connection, making a threat. b1. That connection was through here. Archvenison saw it coming, immediately knew his decision was to bring his capstone down. Fwwwwibib responds with his capstone down, kind of vacuuming up white pieces here, and that is another threat. All he has to do is this black stone on the bottom there allows him to just jump the capstone down to make a connection. Okay, and Arch opts rather than trying to continue hopping with the capstone, f4 upward. And now an f3. So remaking that horizontal connection for Fwwwwibib. Arch very quickly responding. These players are playing so quickly this game. Arch has accumulated 13.5 minutes, and Fwwwwibib is up over 12. All right, c3 from Fwwwwibib. That one's a little bit slower. Yeah, I mean, just the flat coming in. Okay, from Arch, and then Fwwwwibib responding with b4. He is trying, I think he is at least making an effort, along with making the threats, to kind of force Arch to just run his capstone out. It may have been better for Arch to have played a wall on that b3 square, but he's not in trouble. He's not doomed, I should say, yet. b3 down does save him for now. And he's kind of built something horizontal now, half accidentally. Fwwwwibib could make a threat with either b3 or c4. Has this horizontal connection going through here. Even better, of course, yeah, a4. So either of these can be used to make the threat. Very possible we'll see the capstone come back up. e2 up seems very temporary. That just is recaptured. Capstone's kind of his best option at this point. Oh, e2 up. All right, so Arch goes for that first. I would not think Fwwwwibib should hesitate much on that downward capture, although he may, again, as I committed to that too quickly last game, he may be looking for something a little bit more multi-pronged than just simply focusing on this threat. Nope, he decides to do the capture. e4 down. Then the capstone's forced to come up. And now there is perhaps a lull in the continual threats Fwwwwibib is able to make. Okay, c4. All right, Fwwwwibib still making one more threat. It's possible we'd see a wall on d4 there. Yeah, there it is. So now that leaves Fwwwwib with kind of the choice. Yeah, that's the easy renewal of the threat. e4, so then he could smash the wall. The wall runs away back to c4. And now Fwwwwib just continues building a vertical threat on e6. Is not quite a threat this turn, and Arch has to bring in another wall. So now we're getting a little bit jammed up in this area with pieces that block. Fwwwwib's taking his time here. Both capstones have a fair number of pieces underneath them. Fwwwwib's got 3 of Arch's white pieces there, and Arch has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this stack, actually, if he had captured one more black piece, so for example, if he had captured upward with this, he would not be able to move that bottom black piece. Yeah, there's the easiest threat left from Fwwwwib, d1. Jump the capstone down. All right, the wall jumps up onto that stack. So this is a threat. That was a tack threat of spreading that up across to e5. Fwwwwib immediately captures that, making another threat. That's cleverly done because even though he left all of these pieces behind, Arch doesn't have time to use them because he has to stop this vertical threat. Arch captures d5 to the right. That is a threat from him. So, kind of returning the favor, now Fwwwwib does not have time to recapture this stack. Instead, he brings a wall in. So these white pieces could be utilized by Arch now. I see there are some differing opinions as if to that move was clever. That's fair. Fwwwwib is quite far ahead on number of pieces played. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 left, whereas there are 15 left for archvenison. So both players still with plenty of time. 1340 for archvenison, 1152 for Fwwwwib. I appreciate No Hat Coder in chat. I appreciate that. He says maybe we can settle on clever, but not actually good. I'll have to come back to evaluate that later. It certainly didn't put him into a position to win. So, yes, the might not have been all that good. So archvenison is thinking, all right, so he does recover those pieces. He spreads them downward in order to prevent Fwwwwib from just recapturing them. Let's get a little bit of an angle on this so we can see down there. Tack is just the game in 3 dimensions that is difficult to see all of from one perspective. So there is one black piece underneath here. It's just very difficult to see and see the rest of the board. All right, so Fwib decides upon moving his capstone over that way. Arch seems he's concerned with keeping those flat stones out of reach, and so spreads across D2, spreading one each to the right. So Fwib here. Fwib does have the kind of the situation of using this wall to clean up his vertical threat. Yep, and that's what he's going to start working on. It was possible, I was thinking he could have played D2 as a preparation. And that would just be to fill the square in to prevent a wall from being played down here. Archvenison, though, will have to decide what to do. He does have a lot of opportunities to interrupt this vertical road. It's with so many options. It's hard to know. I'm thinking about things like capture, and then a wall from Arch. Depending upon how quickly Fwib gets this stuff cleaned up, he's going to be a couple of moves from a road for a little while. All right, players playing down. So Arch plays on C2, Fwib plays on C1, which is attack threat, in fact, making this horizontal road possible. And, okay, Arch notices D1 to the left. And I'm sure Arch sorely wishes this could be some kind of a threat, but with his own wall in there and all these captives, it's just not going to materialize. Let's take a quick look down. So there are 2 black flats underneath that stack. Okay. Kind of an interesting play. From Fwib there. D2. And I'm not sure if he's just looking to slowly build, like maybe play D1 in a little while and build that vertical threat. Which that would be very strong because captures onto this area down here with flats at least would not stop the threat because he can then just respond by spreading the stack. Just to hold off the end of the game, Arch could consider playing something like a wall on F6. No, he moves his wall to make a threat. It seems like that's just going to result in a wall from Fwib in that location. or just a flat. He just plays a flat stone back there. All right, let's get a little bit of a higher perspective. We're moving back on the board now. Try that. All right, and very quickly, D4 from Arch. Yeah, that flat there is not helping. So D4, a flat on D4, he's got another threat to capture there. All right, and Fwwwwibib just commits his capstone, takes that all the way up. No, that does not help the construction of his vertical threat here. But if he can just lay a flat on D1, that still allows him to make it at the least. Players are taking a lot more time to think now. We are all the way up at move 34. We're waiting on move 35 here. This is definitely becoming one of, well, at least headed for one of the longer games of the whole tournament. Unless something ends quickly. Also, it looks like we are coming down close to a flat ending. Fwwwwibib only with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 black pieces left to play. So flat count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 for Arch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 is tied. Flat count is tied. Archvenison doesn't have a lot of great locations to try to make any continued threats. All right, so he goes with D1. And that is just going to end up being to capture or connect on E1. And also connect to A2, I'm sure. Fwwwwibib's response. He plays a wall on E1. I didn't expect him to be that concerned, but he could be thinking that he can use this to block, say, by capturing D1, and then also be threatening to recapture or free his captives underneath C1. And pretty quick, I believe that was A2. Yes. Quick A2 from Arch, and a quick E1 over from Fwwwwibib. So Arch could play this whole stack with his capstone over to D3, threatening to complete that and making this wall unable to block. But the problem is all of these options for Fwwwwibib to capture to kind of nullify the threat still. So one tricky thing Fwwwwibib could look at working on is using his capstone to try to flatten this wall on B4. To do that, he would have to leave a white behind on C4, however, so he has to interrupt this construction of a vertical road before he could risk it. So archvenison now down below 8 minutes. Finally kind of biting into his time here. Fwwwwibib's still at 10.5. Okay, so Arch opts for the stack to capture upward. So that is a attack threat horizontally through here. These top few stones can jump over. It's very possible Fwwwwibib will just capture upward with this wall to continue threatening to jump onto this stack. Yes, so that looks like what he wants to do. And this capstone of arches is just kind of saturated is its problem. It is currently still mobile, but it cannot suck up any more black pieces underneath it. So, and on top of that, given the way this is now connected right here, this capstone cannot leave the stack behind, say, to smash this wall. If Fwwwwibib were to capture, capstone cannot smash unless it is making a road in the process of doing so, because Fwwwwibib can just finish this road out in one go. He's got enough stones in that stack. Archvenison now coming up, or rather coming down onto 7 minutes. Can't say I'm too sure what he would want to do either. There's definitely, you know, he could definitely push the game to a flat ending. Whoa. Okay. I do not understand that move. Let's take 6 from C3 up. Are we sure that was an intentional move? This is certainly going to... Oh, all right. There's D1 from Fwwwwibib. I thought for sure he'd want this stack. I don't know if maybe Arch was looking for a safe square to leave behind a whole bunch of those captives. It doesn't seem like any square was really safe from that. And yeah, that's... Okay, he does it. All right. This is I did not think he would risk it. He did. He left one behind here, put his own capstone on top. He's making a threat horizontally, jump his capstone onto this wall. So Fwwwwibib, he does not have a single move win in this whole mess. And with the wall and his own capstone here, this stack of stones can't go anywhere but up. But if he does that, he loses. So he will need to respond on one of these squares. Or, okay, there, so he takes his wall back across. Now, what Arch was calculating is now he takes his stack and jumps back on top of here with his own stone. Now, I don't know if that's enough. That doesn't quite get him a win. I mean, it would have been nice if he could have had time to play a flat on C1, because then that would have been a Tinue. That would have been a two-directional threat. I don't know that he had that time, though. E1 from Arch. E1. Oh, okay. That is okay. I'm not following, but that's a horizontal attack threat again. Yeah, I almost missed that. So he can jump this way. This. Oh, okay. There. That's devastating. I think C1 might have been. That wouldn't have really stopped it either. But no. So Fwwwwibib brings his capstone and his big old stack into play, spreads them down there. He's got not a perfect, but a very solid connection to this bottom edge of the board. I don't think these stones can keep up. And that is also a two-directional threat. This stone here and the capstone are the only shared. So the threat is either this direction, he just jumps the wall off of this stack, or this direction, playing a stone here. Capstone is one of the common connections, and D1 is one of the common connections. So capturing D1 would delay. Oh, yes, correct, thanks. Lieutenant Hammer also spotted this giant stack is still available here, so this connection can also be made in that way. So, yes, plenty of routes to the win. So here, I mean, yeah, we could see E1, but we could also see something like A5 would also be a threat. The only problem with that threat is I think it allows this capstone to get a little bit back onto that stack. So Fwwwwibib's got to think pretty big time discrepancy. At this point. Just about 8 minutes for Fwwwwibib and under 5 for Arch. So Fwwwwibib does appear to go with the E1. F1 over to capture. And also keep an eye on Fwwwwibib only has 2 flat stones left. Let me go ahead and rotate this back where we can see there are a good number of stones left for Arch. So is that just A3? Yeah, A3. Horizontal threat. Very simple one. We could see Arch try to use his capstone, but at this point, it might be that Fwwwwibib is just going to put pressure on both making a road and just laying all of his flats. I mean, where are we at? Flat count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So a 4 flat stone lead for Fwwwwibib right now. Okay, and that is a threat from Arch. He's spread back up on top of that large stack. He has a vertical connection coming through. Fwwwwibib certainly could just jump his capstone over. Doesn't make a threat, but... Oh, my mistake. He had 1 flat stone left. So, Fwwwwibib does take that game as well. So that is both games to Fwwwwibib. Congratulations to him. So Fwwwwibib will be moving on to the grand final, which should be played this Sunday. We will announce the times for that as soon as we get it, hopefully in the next day or so. I'll get the players scheduled. And with that, it's also a big congratulations to archvenison for coming in third place. So he will be receiving one of the beautiful leather hand-tooled boards made by Andrew Cookson. And let me go ahead and just throw up our the image gallery here with the prizes in it, and we'll talk about this. So, of course, I am Ben Wilczynski, president of the U.S. TAC Association. If you're interested in TAC or in the association, definitely check us out online. We are at ustac.org. Big thank you to Wormwood Gaming for supplying our first prize, the Purple Heart TAC box set, which you see here. It is gorgeous, and we also do have that commemoratively engraved as being the first place prize for our winner. Excuse me. So visible here, this is the second place prize, beautiful leather board from Andrew Cookson, and now this image is the third place prize, which is going to archvenison. It comes with a small piece bag, and it is a beautiful. It's a flexible. You could actually roll that leather board up. And so it's a very, very nice travel set. So thank you to all the players. Congratulations to Fwwwwibib for moving on to the grand final. And I hope everyone enjoyed those games and that I will see you all back for the stream on Sunday. Also, if you're in the US, it is election day if you're watching this live. So get out there and vote. It's important. Just make sure you are participating in your community and in your government. Thanks, everybody, and I'll see you Sunday.